So, a couple of weeks ago, I started playing League of Legends, and the first thing I noticed is that it isn't like your typical game that you can just pick up and play. No, no, no. The amount of information that you need just to be able to play the game properly is insane compared to your typical esport game. So, 14 years after its release, is League too difficult to get into? Well, let's find out together. So first thing that you might stumble on while browsing through the game menu is the sheer number of playable characters in this game, 163 to be exact, and we'll go into why that's such a nightmare to deal with later on. So when you're first starting in League, you can only play unrated until you reach level 30 and have at least 20 champions unlocked, which is pretty typical in most esport games. And when you get into a game, you choose your champion, and based on the champion you pick, you would then play in a certain lane. Now when I first played the game, I didn't know that each lane had standards for what champion to play. So for example, a champion like Vi or Vi is usually played as a jungler, while Jinx is usually a bottom laner. And the only way I discovered this is when my teammates politely told me which lane I'm supposed to be in. And after I learned the basics of the game, I decided to only focus on 2 roles and a few champions while I get the hang of the game. And I chose to settle with the roles of support and bottom. And just to give you an idea of what these roles do, a support player is expected to assist their teammates at all times, offering the assistance where necessary to help their teammates do their job effectively, and are often situated at the bottom lane. And a bottom laner, or ADC, which stands for Attack Damage Carry, is a champion that deals strong continuous damage with their basic attacks and scales with attack related stats like attack damage, critical strike chance, and attack speed. And I chose to main Lux as a support because I liked her kit and she was somewhat easy to play. And for my ADC, I went with Misfortune for similar reasons. I also downloaded this app called Mobilytic that's pretty helpful with giving insight into the game, like telling me when certain things around the map are going to happen and if an enemy buys a certain item. And it also helps with telling me which ability path to take to be as effective as possible. So after I met the requirements to play in ranked and did my placement matches and learned to play in combo with my champions, I was very disappointed to see myself being placed in bronze, which really shocked me considering that I've never placed anywhere near bronze in every other game I played before. But this was a different beast. And remember when I told you about the number of champions being absurd? Well, this is where the first hurdle presents itself. So let's assume that you only play the same champion in the beginning. In every match you play, you go against a completely different set of champions, which of course won't happen in real life, but let's just theorize that it would happen. It would take you about 33 games, and with each match averaging 30 to 40 minutes, means that you need to play the game for 16.5 to 20 hours to play against every champion and to see their abilities and play styles. So it's pretty safe to say that you would need at least 100 plus hours of gameplay to get a decent grasp of the game. And of course, you'll need to learn about items and which items to buy, which of course will differ depending on the comp you're going against and what kind of items the enemies are going with. And another thing that I noticed is that bronze players in this game aren't like your typical bronze players in other games. For example, when I made a new account in Overwatch and I was first placed against bronze and silver players, it felt like they were literal AI. Like most of them didn't even know how to use their abilities or move and shoot at the same time. But in this game, every bronze player was a god compared to me. And one thing I really hated about this game is if you lose the early engagement and the enemy gets ahead of you in terms of gold and XP, a lot of the time that would mean you would need to play very passively and stay close to your tower. Otherwise, you will get killed most of the time. And I found this to be a very unenjoyable experience. Also, making comebacks in this game has been very rare for me. And usually, I'd be able to tell whether we're going to win or lose pretty early on in the game, just based off kills and if my jungler ever helps me out. So, do I think it's too late to join League? Well, if you're ready to put in hours and hours of your time into looking up tutorials on how to play the game and learn all the minute details of every champion so you can effectively counter them and spending a lot of time arguing with your teammates, then I would say no, it's not too late to join League. But remember, if you get addicted to this game, then you run the risk of becoming like this guy.
It was okay to even put it in the game. I'm so sick of this fucking company. They're trash! Fix the game! It sucks playing the shit! And I'm fucking addicted! So I can't quit!